A lot of people in mental health would chop this up to a long, drawn-out explanation that shows that I'm delusional. Ask yourself, who knows better? Some pencil dick shrink and their sissy nerd geek yuppie allies? Or the top martial artist with a $4,000 challenge for 4 years, at one point was a $100,000 challenge. Okay, well, that's the world record for focused, fast strikes. Okay, from Deontay Wilder's range, boxing range, not trapping range like Wing Chun. Okay, 15 hits in 1.2 to 1.5 seconds from that range. So let's look at the culture now. Let's say, why does this thing exist? Some of you might ask. Right, let's cover the odds and ends. I shouldn't have to explain this, but I will, because you are in a state of cognitive dissonance and willful denial and basically a cowardice. That's why you're not going to take the time to figure this out. What is our society a result of? What are the norms a result of? Crony capitalism, media influence, substances, and a weak democratic system. This is part of the mix. What else is mixed in there? There's a hint of Christian morality, because Christianity in its current form is a fake religion where they emphasize the Western culture more than the Christian morals. Okay, a hint of Christian values, a hint of foreign conceptions of right and wrong. Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, mental health, and their allies make sure that they exist in moderate forms only. Buddhist psychology, right? Moderate, right? Moderator. Moderate form. Who is the moderator, right? It is the crony capitalist, corporatist elite. Okay. False pride, okay, exists. So people do not address the negative output of this specific mixture, this chemical mixture, which creates chemistry in relationships, illusion, drugs, and stupidity. The principles of evil are the foundation of our society. Evil people moderate religious interpretations, and cultures and philosophies and scientific theories, and which theories are pursued and which theories are thrown aside because they're too true and they make the elite look bad. Okay? So this negative output includes raping. Why do fraternities keep raping people? Why do roofies and Mickeys, why are they still going on? Why do we have this violence, these gangs and so on? Okay, I tell you the truth, I know for sure. I tell you the truth, they don't. They could shut down this drug trade overnight, damn near. They could shut down the rapes, in a timely manner. They could shut this thing down pretty much any time they want, okay? They have the power to. If they create a martial arts structure and give them control over the societies that operate behind the scenes, they could shut this thing down. Gangs answer to somebody. Police officers answer to somebody. Drug cartels answer to somebody, and these people work together. If this was a martial arts structure, this thing would be shut down. Okay? This culture would be shut down and all the negative output shut down. The system is a machine. It is a beast that can be killed, a machine that can be unplugged and stopped. Instead, the machine causes people to get plugged in the ass. Little kids as well, metaphorically and literally. The ideas behind Western society ultimately come from Sumerians with their push from 5000 BC that led to the Amen, Min, Mont, Apis, Osiris, Serapis, Dagon, Zeus, etc. These are all just variations of the principles of evil expressed in different deities that different cults rolled with to create a certain mixture again that spread across Europe. The Sith are seen as the Northern Europeans. Their cultures more than their genetics, because they all pretty much are under the control of these Sumerian sort of based Temple of Set and Min and Man and Mont and all these kind of evil ideas, deities. Okay, this Western culture is based on evil deities. The Nordic are played out as the Sith, and the Mediterranean, right? Masons are based on the Pythagorean, more on Rome and Greece, and not on Northern Europe, the Vikings, the French, the Germans. All these people basically are seen more as the Sith. And of course, in the midst of it, right, the French can be seen a little bit more as the Jedi, right? The Knights Templar, Jacques de Molay, and so on and so forth. You look at the history of Greece, it was basically a bunch of namby-pamby ninnies playing games until very violent, sexually immoral people killed them off, and they are said to be the Dorians from the north and the Ionians. Okay, so, you know, I'm pretty sure you get that. Moving on. The threats to Jedi teaching, page 150. Okay, Resteli Quist, librarian. They have no more tolerance for heretics who believe they have a superior path, right? It goes back to what I just said, right? It's part of Jedi teaching. They say these people who think they know better than we do, you know, and we're the Jedis behind the Republic that operate the Republic from behind the scenes, and you see that to some degree in Return of the Jedi and so on, right? The Jedi were the rulers of the Republic, okay? The cults behind it, and they reasserted power is the story of Star Wars. Okay, and there's parallels to that in Western culture, but it's more accurately said as these cults have always run society. They just got their kind of totalitarian grip reinstated. Okay, so they persecute people like me who insist on the truth and who think that the martial art order is superior to a bunch of mad scientists, Lex Luthors running society. Oh my God, how could they think that, right? It's basically, they're sickos. Okay? They're the coward geeks that don't man up. They're the foolish bullies that don't kill the geeks and get rid of them and insist on the martial art order mixed together, and the crazy feminist bitches that roll with them, and the LGBT community, all this trash you see in mainstream society. Anyway, the relativists argue the dark side does not exist, that it is just in the mind, and any action with pure intent is okay. So of course, when you look at this thing, right, you know, they also are the problem solution, right? The Sith are the moral relativists. Excuse me, actually, there's another group of heretics, right? There's the Sith, the Jedi, then there's this other group that is basically moral relativists who say the dark side doesn't exist. I basically agree with them on that, okay? The moral relativists are a problem. The Lost, they break with the order for philosophical reasons. You have people that time travel and flow walk. You have people that enhance the senses with the Force and predict the future. And these are groups that are outside of the Jedi Order that they have problems with. Okay, you have people that study knowledge for perception. These are basically various forms of Western philosophies that the Masons and them want to bring under their auspices. They're like, these guys are problems because they think they know best for A, B, and C, right? Moral relativists, they can be added to our mixture, but they have to do it our way. These guys, you know, that's the general idea here. Matukai, force bond, strengthens their blows, and refreshes their fighting spirit. So this is a martial art order. Basically, they went their own way. They need to be brought under our tutelage, okay? The Kushi guardians of breath, they cause remarkable cell growth in plants and animals. So they're basically saying these guys, their philosophy is off, but they've managed to do wonderful things. If we can kind of blend that in with our philosophy and take over, you know, then we can help these people reach their true potential. Absolute garbage. Jedis are basically Luciferians who, when you point out why they're wrong, they turn into Satanists and you know, show their fangs and their true colors and so on. Which is green, right? The green serpent, the black serpent, the color of the light, the multicolored serpent, and so on. Anyway. So basically the Greeks had Roman muscle. I'm not going to go over that right now. Okay, the capoeira is banned until the 1940s, and then you see the rise of eventually the civil rights movement. Okay, basically the mafia was active in the 20s and so on and so forth. Okay, and capoeira is banned until the 40s, and after they've killed a bunch of people and made sure things go a certain way, you know, they stop banning capoeira. It becomes this little sissy dance. They may as well be dressed like fucking ballerinas. Okay, so these people on 154, it talks about taking on a Padawan. They choose from the temple. They have lightsaber performances. This parallels in phallic symbols. Lightsaber is basically a phallic symbol where you use technology to make your penis longer. Okay, that's what they're doing right now. It's kind of crazy to think, hey, one day, you know, people are going to think of black people as having small dicks, or at least people who aren't in secret societies. And the people who will have the small dicks in their bloodlines are basically going to be seen as having the big dicks because they're going to use technology and gene modification to outperform sexually and otherwise, the other people. You're a dumbass if you don't think that sexual prowess, if you will, is not a part of perceived sexual prowess, perceived natural sexual prowess, whether it was your intellect that came up with the idea and it caused you to have the money to have the bigger dick one way or another, blah, blah, blah. Okay? It's a part of eugenics, it's part of nugenics, it's part of Bill Gates and their direction of society. Okay? So, money and force, right? The force bond between the Padawan and the Jedi Master, the Jedi Knight seeking to be a master, right? There's a force bond, right? Male bonding, homosexual bonding. Okay, so there's the dark brown cloak symbolism with the young Jedi in yellow and white, the dark pillars, the red, orange, pink, white, yellow textures in the picture. Basically, you can kind of understand the color coding there, right? Color coded, right? You know. Above all, do not be overprotective. Full-time commitment that may last a year or more. Not all Jedis have apprentices. Meditation required, right? And of course, meditation is a female kind of aspect, right? A feminine perspective. A feminine, you know, we look at nature, right? Is the man is naturally aggressive and authoritative. Okay, this kind of Buddhist kind of meditation is a feminine perspective, right? Buddha, look at the depictions of Buddha, kind of lipstick, kind of feminine face, feminine perspective. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Mother Earth, right? Becoming a master and a grand master, right? Master A stairs, stores, stars, the stairs, right? Who stares at you and why? The teacher staring at you and so on. Force philosophers, battle masters, historians, and scientists, etc. Grand Master titles, the elected leader of the High Council, the Master of the Order. That, you know, you go over that, basically have these stupid titles, and it proves my point as well. So these are the Betrayers' Council. You know, they have a council that makes the decisions together, pretty much representatives of the different detestable deities, Min, Mont, and so on. Certainly they're represented there. Set, and Set is the main shot caller there. Right, there's a main, there is the Master of the Order, the elected leader of the High Council. Okay, so they democratize the Pharaoh's power, quote unquote, but in reality they kind of have their president behind the scenes, if you will, a member of the Temple of Set, you know, the High Priest of Set, or the representative of Set. Anyway, and it's right there in you know, he has the short back, right? Set was short and Narmer was tall. You know, he has the red for the principles of evil and so on. Set embodies the principles of evil and so on. Anyway, transcending death. They call it the Netherworld by Grandmaster Faye Coven, right? It goes back to the witch's coven. Okay, his name is Faye Coven. Sages among the wills, right? Slow, wills, whales, walls, wolves, wheels, right? Sheep's, wolves in sheep clothes and so on. Right? Being a sheep itself is a feminine perspective, right? You're supposed to be a hawk, you know, a predator, not this kind of helpless little pussy, you know, waiting for the wolf to, you know, ripe for the slaughter. Okay, the existence in this world, and they die and they're unable to interact with the physical world, but they basically return to this world. They have different stories and theories, okay? All things possible through the Force is what they believe, okay? Remember, it goes back to them saying the Jedi is basically the heart of the Force, okay? So they basically believe that man and not the Creator God is the heart of the Force, and there's parallels to that in Buddhism, where a lot of Buddhists, most of them, I'd say, don't believe in a God. They have their deities, which are basically people that have been made, you know, deified. Anyway, there is no death, there is the Force, okay? So they believe in, someone believe in sublimation of the body cells into pure energy. The echoes in thoughts appear, crimson holocron. Make a long story short, it's complete bullshit. This part might even be the most important part. I'm running out of time and I don't really feel like going over it. They basically believe in it. The closest religion to what they believe is Buddhism. That they have these deities that live forever, and they have this kind of specter image, and they're effeminate sissies. Basically, they echo in the thoughts of somebody, so they're basically channeling their masters from generation to generation and embodying their teachings. So the teachings of these Satanists and these Luciferians are basically being remembered, and people are emulating them, and they're teaching their Padawans that they have sex with to bond, that they're sexually attracted to continue this teaching. This is what they believe. It's disgusting. The wordplay proves my point. We've gone on and on enough about this. You're an idiot if you don't see it my way. You're stupid. You wouldn't last a second in ancient combat because you don't have the right form of intelligence.